Welcome back, guys. I hope that you've all had a good week, and that sounds like you've had a pretty interesting time. Look, gang, 757 is in an aircraft, I assume. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining us today. Yeah, last turn was interesting. Let's put it that way, and rather sad for the French, rather good for the Allies. So, depending on your perspective. UPS. Interesting. Oh, well, at least you made it in time for this. Anywho, so what happened last turn? Let's have a quick recap on that. So we had, sorry, I'm trying to do this upside down. We had the Austrians who were in Nugent. We had the Guard moving south to engage, and we had Napoleon who crossed the river and attacked them. It was a little bit indecisive. Hey, Will, good to have you with us. It was a little bit indecisive overall in that the defensive position for the Austrians was just too strong for the French to take, but the French superiority in artillery meant that the Austrians had to withdraw. So it was kind of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The French weren't able to take the town, but the Austrians weren't able to really hold it. So it really was more of a draw than anything. So basically everyone's just milling around. Priorities equals the game. Yeah, exactly. Over on this side, we had Ney heading south to try and smash his way through. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. And although they did inflict heavy casualties on the Allies overall, he was almost killed. He's severely wounded. And with that, the army basically started to break and withdrew. So it wasn't brilliant for the French in either situations. Slightly better over in the west than the east. But not great in either situation. For the Allies, just their general movements were for these corps to advance against Ney, hence the battle. Blucher and this Russian corps moved across country to try and get into position to attack Ney this turn. And the Prussian reinforcements from 2 turns ago were stopped due to, I think it was partisan activity. And we had an extra unit of reinforcements arrive. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of an interesting turn. The French did also get their cavalry reinforcements coming out of Paris. I think that's about everything that happened. So this turn, let's get started with a roll for initiative. So, cool. So we've got a 6 for the French and a 1 for the Allies, starting on this side. So the French get the initiative in the west. It's going to be French. And in the east, it's a draw. And it's a draw. Okay, so we'll just stick with a draw. Actually, that's what we have done in the past, isn't it? And so they just move simultaneously. So draw, simultaneous movements. Cool. All right, so that's interesting. Weather for this turn. Let's have a look what we've got. Okay, we've rolled a 95, which is clear. So we've got clear weather. And actually, sorry, let me refresh. This roll is for next turn because last turn we rolled for this. So turn 8, we've got clear weather. And now turn 9, we've got clear weather as well. So things are improving as the years and the seasons move forwards. So that's potentially beneficial, potentially not, depending on what the situation is for each side. However, although it is clear this turn, it was bad weather last, so the movement is still going to be slightly reduced owing to the bad nature of the roads being wet. Next up, we've got reinforcements. So the French do get 1 battery of artillery coming on from Paris, and the Allies have got 2 infantry coming on somewhere. So we'll just roll. We've got 1, 2, or 3. Sorry, 1 or 2. 2 or 3. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So they'll be coming on down in the south. Down there. Cool. So yeah, that's 1 battery for the French and 2 infantry for the Allies. Okay, so now let's move on to our historical events. We are now in March, the week of March the 14th to March the 20th. This will be 2 clear weather turns. Is it better? Oh, is it 2? Oh, in that case, yeah, if it's the second, then it will be clear movement. Yes, correct. So, yes. Yeah, if ever you hear me make a mistake, just remind me, and all good. Okay, so we're on turn 8. So, turn 8, we have the stalemate at Leon. Unable to break through Blucher's defensive position at Leon, Napoleon's forces stalled, giving the coalition time to regroup. Seems kind of like what happened there. Strategic effect, both sides are forced to pause offensive operations for 1 turn, during which they can only regroup. Additionally, the coalition player gains a +3 cohesion boost to all units, while Napoleon's forces suffer a slight -1 cohesion loss penalty. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So, -1 to French, -3 coalition. Okay. So let's reread that. So they're unable to break through defensive position. Napoleon's forces stalled. Strategically, both sides are forced to pause offensive operations for 1 turn. Okay, so I guess we won't be having any battles this time, so it'll just be reorganization. Interesting. Okay, so movement, that's... Yeah, I think we might just skip out on that because that's the historical, and what we'll take from that is that there is cohesion loss, but /gain, so -1 to the French and +3 to the coalition, but we'll still allow them to move because, yeah, I think that makes more sense. Chime in the comments if you agree or disagree. But yeah, my thoughts are that's just what happened historically, and so we will use that in our game just to the effect that things did sort of stall, and so because of the stall, because of the fact that the French weren't able to break through there, because there was the battle there, it's just going to be cohesion loss and disorder between the forces, which will be affected by the loss to the cohesion or the gain for the Allies in this case. I think that works better. Cool. French random events. That's how we go with that. Cool. So we've got a 2 for the French. Supply delay. Supply lines are stretched thin. 1 infantry unit runs low on ammunition. Oh, wow. Okay, so if we have a battle, 1 unit low ammo. And that was a roll of 2. Okay. Things are not going well for the French. Okay, on to the Allies. They've rolled a 19. And 19 is confusion in command. Confusion in command. Communication errors result in 1 force failing to move this turn. Ah, interesting. Okay, so what we will do is have a count up to find out who it is. Does seem very apt. Thinking about getting off the river line and moving northwards to a more central position. Does seem very apt after Napoleon's battle last turn. Yeah, cool. So if we go 1, they should all be together. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 can just be the reinforcements. And then we will see which of the Allies basically fails to move. 6. Okay, so they're reinforcements. Basically, this time the communications have come through. Let's just say they've got conflicting orders, and so they just won't move this turn. Keeps it simple. Fail to move. If I pause talking, it's just because I'm writing down, and I struggle to talk and write at the same time sometimes. Cool. So that's our historical events. That's our random events. That's our reinforcements on the table. Cool. So options for this turn. Time to get to the crux of it, find out what's going to happen. So bear with me whilst I get up the YouTube page with all of the results. Posts. There we go. So so for the French in the West, so that's these guys. Option 1 was the lowest, so we've ruled that out. So that gives us option 2, 3, and 4. Dice. Cool. So they have rolled a 54. This is for the French, which is option 3. And sorry, option 2. And option 2 is the guard, which is these chaps, and the reinforcements will keep moving on Schwarzenberg. Napoleon. Is that right? Is that right? Or am I looking at completely the wrong thing? Option 2. No, it is option 2. Oh, sorry, I was reading number 3. Yeah, option 2. So the guard and the reinforcements go after Schwarzenberg. Napoleon will try and link up with Ney, and the reserve corps will head over towards Troyes. Whether they'll be going on the offensive or whether they'll just be trying to block the retreat of the Austrians, who knows? We'll find out next turn. But that's going to be the French turn. So they have got the initiative in the west, so they will be going first. The Allies in the west, let's see what they're going to be doing. So they have got option 1 only scored 10%, so that's out of it. So it goes to the other 2 options. And we've got a 58 gear, sorry, a 58. So that's going to be option 2, and that is forces head west. Okay, so yeah, this is going to be the Austrians are going to be trying to retreat back towards their lines of supply. So that'll be quite interesting. So let's go and do that before we lose our train of thought. So we've got the French, who are going to be trying to attack again. We've got Napoleon, who is going to be going. I think he may need to try and do a force march, but up to you guys. So yeah, he will get to approximately there without force march. We've got the guard, who are going to be coming down. We've got the Austrians, who are going to be sort of marching across, so there will be an engagement there. We've got the troops coming down. I assume we're going to want the next reinforcements to head that way. Again, comment if you want them to go elsewhere, but for now I'll just quickly get them moving, and then we can always refresh that in a second. And the reserve are going to move to approximately there. Cool. So that's our Western operations. With the Austrians, allied players, if you want to chime in on what you think they should do, that would be great. Whether you think they should try and force march past and avoid the battle, sort of suffer a few casualties, but just try not to have a pitched battle, or whether you think now there's probably more of them, whether standing and fighting might be the best thing. But let me know in the comments. And now I shall roll for the Eastern Bloc, and we'll see what happens there. And then I will be back to read your comments momentarily. So in the East, we've got a 60, which is option 3. So for the French in the East, option 3 with a 60 is Ney retreats towards and aims to link up with the French. Okay. And for the Allies in the East, their lowest one was option 1, so we'll strike that out. And we have rolled a 42. So the Allies in the East on a 42 is option 3. Option 3 is Blucher and the main body of Eastern forces attack Ney. So we've got these corps march up, these groups march in, and then the reinforcements aim to link up. So these troops here march north, and these troops march over, and they kind of join somewhere in the middle, ready to strike into the north. And we'll decide on those reinforcements. I'll let you guys comment in a moment. So how does that happen? It's all done simultaneously. So I would say, again, I'm just going to flick back now to the live stream to read your comments before I do the movements. Cool. This will be clear. We're thinking about getting off the river line. Okay, even that was the least advantageous for the French. Luck is holding, but might need those infantry. Can I see what the East option result is first before deciding on force? Yep. Would the French advantage pin him in place? With the French advantage, What, Luke? I'm reading your comment there. What do you mean by that? The French advantage pin him in place. Is that the Austrians, or could you just elaborate on that one? Commit to battle the guard. So okay, so you're saying in this situation here, will the French and the Austrians will fight? Yep, happy with that, unless anyone is anti it. But please address Luke's question. Then no need for Napoleon to force a march. Okay, in the West. So in the West, you're saying with the French advantage. So I've lost the comment. Can I see? Would the French advantage pin him in place? Pin Schwarzenberg in place? Is that? Sorry, yeah, you're trying to figure out. French. Okay, so just read through everyone's comments. So let's just talk about the West, and then I'll come back to the East. So we've got a battle, and I think you're saying with the French have an advantage there, Luke. So they just fight, as in like the French advantage pin Schwarzenberg in place. I think possibly, but overall, by the looks of it, the Allies want a battle, so we're going to have a battle there anyway. So I think unless anyone's anti that, we'll stick with that. Then in the East, yeah, French had initiative over Schwarz, so that would pin. Yeah, got you. Yeah, that makes sense. So yes, he would be slightly more to that side. The French will basically just be fighting him before he gets to Nogent. So yeah, okay, I think that works. They're fine where they are. Napoleon's marched. I can't remember, did you say you wanted Napoleon to force march? I don't think. I thought you said you were going to wait and see. Seeing as Ney has moved, looks like the coalition should concentrate, looking to go after the French next move. Yep. Remember, those south forces are stuck this move. Yep. French had initiative, and historical events stopped offensive actions. Yep. So yeah, with the historical event stopping the offensive action, we're just going to have that in the sense of the disorder that was caused by the situation. So there will just be limits to the French cohesion. And so, okay. So just trying to figure out all the comments. So overall in the East, we had Ney, who was ordered to link up with Napoleon. They would be moving simultaneously, so we just go for him first. He would just about get there. The Allies you were suggesting they just consolidate rather than do a full pursuit to try and get into the attack, which makes sense. So again, correct me, I'm just going to move on the map, and then you can tell me no or yes. So what I'm assuming from that is you're wanting them to kind of march up to something like that, and like that, so they can concentrate, and then next turn they'll be united, ready to go. At least that's my understanding. The orders were for the reserves to march up and reserves to march over, just so they can try and link up. Yeah, going yes, Luke, no need, as Ney is heading that way anyway. Cool. So is that roughly what you guys were collectively suggesting? I think that's my interpretation of it anyway. Just think about it this way. I mean, if it's this hard when you've got live messaging, how hard it must have been back in the day when you had one commander there sending messengers down the road with pieces of paper to someone else, and then them having to try and interpret it on the fly. You can see how big mistakes were made in these historical battles, where they read something, they interpret it as something else. Charge of the Light Brigade comes to mind. But yeah, very interesting. That is it. Probably struggling to get to Paris, so need to smash the Emperor. Yeah, that's the thing. All it would take for the Allies really is one good battle and a lucky shot that kills Napoleon, and that's basically game over for the French. So interesting. For you Allied players, we've got this new reinforcement unit of, what was it, 2 infantry. Where do you want them to go? Do you want them to head south? Do you want them to head west? Or do you want them to head to this central group? Let me know what that is. Cool. And I'm just going to have a quick drink. Too much talking. Cool. West. Cool. Anyone else want to chime in, or should we just go straight west with them? Okay, so that's going to get them approximately to there. Okay, west. The Austrians would be impressed with their commanders, no matter the outcome. Yeah, the Austrians are doing pretty well, actually. Thought they were stopped because of the event. Which event was that, Will? Oh, they can't move. Oh, yeah, you're correct. Sorry, my mistake. Yes, you are right. Get back. There we go. Correct. Thank you. Move to that second up. Move to that second up from the south. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, that was my mistake. Yeah, they are stuck this turn. As far as you guys are concerned, have I done everything else correct? I think so. 2 turns. They've just stood there. Next time. Okay. So I think we're correct. Just going to go back through in my head everything that's happened this turn. So we had the French moving their reinforcements down towards this position. We had the Austrians and the French engaging around Nogent. We had the reserves moving over in that direction. Napoleon moving to the sort of central area to help Ney. Ney has managed to extricate himself. The Allies are concentrating. 2 of the reinforcements were moving. 1 of them is locked in place. And I think we're accurate there. Anyway, yeah, so this should be an interesting turn. 1 battle. Our ADC is drunk. Yeah, exactly. In regards to this situation here, mainly for the Allies, I guess, do you want your troops to actually try and fight a battle, or do you want them to try and withdraw if practical? Because that will give us in our battles a bit more of an idea of what you want to do, or the overall intent of the commanders, let's say. Is it just to stick it out, or is it to fight until they're potentially winning and then push for a victory, or at the first sign of it going the wrong way, get out of there? Looks like only 10 inches. Yeah. I don't know what that is in inches, but it's from the nearest Austrians, 17 centimeters. Who are you referring to, Blutgang? The Austrians there, or someone else? Can they dig in / fortify? Because technically they can. So can these Austrians try and defend / dig in? Yeah, I mean they can fight a defensive action for sure. I can't see why there would be any issue with that. So yeah, okay, cool. Unless anyone else wants to suggest anything else, then we'll put down there as sort of Austrian intent, fight defensive. Cool. Perfect. Okay, so they will try and fight a defensive action there rather than going on the offensive and let the French come to them. The French will try and damage them. And okay, I think we're in. Fawn in, they really are. Cool, I think we're there. So this will be quite an interesting turn. And it kind of sets up, I mean, what are we on? We're turn 8, so we've got 9, 10. So we've 10, we've got 4 turns left. For the Allies, really, to win, they need to either capture Paris, kill Napoleon, or a combination of winning more battles, which at the moment we're about equal on, or occupying more of the named towns, because they get victory points for each town, basically within their sphere of control. So they're your options for winning for the Allies. For the French, basically just carry on doing what they are. Don't lose Paris, don't lose Napoleon, and the French are in line for some form of a victory, whether it's total or whether it's a minor victory. If the French are drastically outnumbered, I recommend they don't go full pelt. Feel happy to withdraw in good order towards their reinforcements. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, last turn there were quite a few casualties suffered by the French, so yeah, I think so. And I would think they have no time, given the guard were right on them, but looking for, yeah, I would say you're correct there, Will. So it's going to be for the Austrians fighting a defensive battle, choosing as much defensive ground as possible, and let the French come to them. But yeah, interesting. So one fight this turn, and yeah, it looks like we're really getting into position, especially in this center, for the sort of the final showdown of the next few turns. But anyway, thank you all for joining us today and all your comments. This campaign has been very fun up to this point. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how it actually turns out, because it could still go either way. That's the thing. I mean, there's so many turns where I think it's done, and then all of a sudden it just totally reverses. So it's very interesting. But yeah, unless there's any other points that you guys want to raise or bring out today, I think that'll do us. But thank you all for joining in and all your comments. And I hope that you have a good weekend. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks, guys. See you later.